Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker. Yeah. It's the final film in the latest Star Wars trilogy. It has followed lead protagonists Rey, played by Daisy Ridley, Finn, played by John Boyega, and Poe, played by Jason Isaacs. In beginning talking about this film, I want to talk about the production. The production for this film is insane. The amount of people that worked for months on months to create these beautiful locations and set pieces. When you watch the film, as well as all the behind the scenes features, you can really tell the love that everyone had while making this film. I mean, under that rug, there are 17 puppeteers just working on those little things. You can tell by watching it, these are people who are happy to be a part of Star Wars. At this point, who wouldn't be? ILM were great with the visual effects. They always are. They continue to create some of the greatest effects that you can see in film or on television. One aspect of the production, though, that I think was weak was the script. Scenes were blown through with little time to take them in as an audience member. So many characters were focused on that you couldn't get behind anyone properly. Who's this guy? You see him for 1 second, and then he's gone. Why is he on the Falcon? Who are all these people in the crowd? Why are there all these ships? I don't know what's going on. What works best when you are trying to get an audience invested emotionally is allowing your scenes and allowing your characters within these scenes to take their time. Let your film breathe so your viewer can feel the weight of what they are watching. Unfortunately, in this, there is so much going on that you are not allowed that. Of course, this isn't true for the whole film. I'm not talking about every aspect. The sequences on Kijimi, where C-3PO sacrifices himself and Poe rekindles with Zori Bliss, these allow you to feel the character. They're able to bring a sense of three-dimensionality to their protagonist, which was lacking for much of the film. I hate saying it, but it feels like a child saying, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, when they're writing this story, and not actually weaving plot points together. I'll just go through the first 20 minutes of the film. Kylo Ren kills a load of guys to get a Sith Wayfinder. He travels to Exegol in order to meet with Palpatine, who has cloned many people of his past, including Snoke. Palpatine then attempts to make a deal with Kylo and shows him the Final Order, his new army. Poe and Finn meet with an informant who divulges to them that there is a spy within the First Order and gives them some intel. The First Order then come and chase them down, but Poe begins lightspeed skipping in order to escape them. Rey continues training with Leia. Rey is conflicted, however, as she cannot connect with Force Ghosts and is haunted by her past. The team reunite and they quarrel as Rey says she isn't ready and still needs time to train. Poe disagrees and says she is their best fighter. The intel they found reveals that Palpatine is still alive and the intention of his plans. Rey sets out to find the Sith Wayfinder and the crew come along with her. Kylo rebuilds his mask and joins back with the Knights of Ren. The gang go to a festival as it's the last place Luke looked when he was searching for the Sith Wayfinder. That's not even a quarter of the way through this, and there's enough there for a whole movie. I even failed to mention the full plot of Rey attempting to earn Luke's lightsaber from Leia through completion of her training. However, she gives it to Leia at around the 11-minute mark and then takes it back from her about 5 minutes later. It's a narrative point that could have been built up more. It would have been a way to make Rey more sympathetic, as she would have had to fight without a lightsaber. I know when talking about this, I have to talk about The Last Jedi. Rian Johnson was employed to write and direct The Last Jedi. He is best known for films such as Brick and Looper, that play around with alternate themes and are made to subvert audiences' expectations. It doesn't sound very Star Wars, and audiences, as well as producers, seem to agree. The Last Jedi received mixed reviews from audiences and critics, but Disney were quick to retcon a lot of these plot points in the film. You can see this in the film clearly with what they did to Luke. They did a total 180 from his throwing the lightsaber with a complete disregard for it to then treating it with a respect. Top of that, they removed the Finn and Rose romance that was beginning there, as well as shitting all over the Holdo maneuver.
I will probably be Princess Leia till I'm 85 years old. Are you happy now?
Another part of the production I felt they were hindered with was the passing of Carrie Fisher. She was still a pertinent part of the script, so they had to find a way of working her in without raising the issues that a Rogue One did with Peter Cushing. So they'll have had to adapt the script in a way that would have made it work. I thought they did great in that regard, as they used footage from previous films to tie it in, as well as gain consent from her daughter, who was a part of the crew.
Hello, I Bubble Freak.
You know, when I watched the film, I really enjoyed Babu Frick. I thought he was the best new character, hands down. I couldn't tell you why I liked him, but I did. Personally, I feel it's because he wasn't overused. He was there for a scene and a shot afterwards, that was it. But because I like this character, doesn't mean I'm going to be seeing a lot more of him and having spin-off media created of him. I say this because that's what they've done here, with a lot of their narrative as well. Audiences liked Lando, so Disney bring him back when arguably he's not even necessary to the plot. On top of this, they also use nostalgia to raise the stakes. When the Death Star destroyed Alderaan in the first film, it created an emotional crux. Leia had lost her home, Leia had lost her family. But to raise the stakes in this, Palpatine now has 1,000 Death Star weapons. Feels like way too much, and you can't take it seriously. It's another aspect of a child writing something down on a piece of paper and saying, and then. I'm getting away from myself though. My point is that they use these characters audiences love until they're sick of them. Will arguably do the same with these new characters the audience have enjoyed. One question I keep coming back to when looking at this film is, where does the line between filmmaking and fanboyism end? And have they already crossed it?
Here's the whip from Indiana Jones. That's the iron from Home Alone.
Abrams created cameos for a lot of his childhood heroes, such as John Williams. This isn't anything at all against him, as the scores he has made for Star Wars as well as tons of other movies speak for themselves, but does putting him in a random role for 1 second add anything to the overall viewing pleasure of it? As well as this, it's taking away a spot for someone who does need work. Another thing that comes up when discussing the film is the time it took to produce. Each film in this trilogy has taken 2 years to make, which is way quicker than any of the previous ones. The originals had 3 years per film, as well as the prequels. With this extra year, would they have been able to focus more on the script and some of the other lacking points with the production? I do feel bad for them, in a way, as Star Wars was bound to be held to tight production schedules as soon as Disney bought the copyright. Star Wars, Marvel, all these IPs that Disney bought up, they're on a conveyor belt now. They're factory-made films. There'll be some creativity to them, there always is, and they're never like bad, but you're not going to remember it for the rest of your life like you will with the original Star Wars. They're not the same, they don't feel the same. But you'd think they'd have learnt their lesson from Lucas with the prequels, as he shat the scripts out so quickly.
Here we go. A first draft. Official first draft.
There were no producers telling him, we can't do that, that's bullshit. It was just him. And it didn't work, just like this one didn't. At this point, Star Wars, at least the mainline films anyway, they feel doomed. Producers seem to be overthinking every aspect to pander to nostalgia, but they're also rushing crews to produce the work without fully being able to think it through, to create emotional cruxes or actual narrative plot points. No wonder actors are quick to get the Star Wars stink off of them.
You ain't gonna Disney Plus me.
And I can't imagine what it would be that would make me want to kind of redo this thing or revisit it.
It would have been great to see what could have been made if these talented people were reined in a little by producers that knew what they were doing and weren't thinking in terms of fan and thinking in terms of a producer, and these people were actually given time to produce something worthwhile. Would have also been a good plan if they actually had the faintest idea of what they were doing with the story when they first started making it. If they had a clear plan for all 3 films when they began, they would not have the mess they ended up with. You talk about nostalgia all the way through this film. You look back at these characters, these weapons, these vehicles, everything. But the greatest irony of this is that when you go back and watch the original Star Wars film, the main narrative crux is about the Death Star plans, what the rebels need to do with them. Because they had those plans, they were able to destroy the Death Star, and for that moment in time, defeat the Empire.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
But where are your plans, Disney?
Ah!